once traveling on the road. Our home is where the traffic flows. We'll bring you everywhere we go and sleep in a freezing cold van because we're a little bit crazy, but you'll see that it's worth it.
Now we are headed to Normandy, the region in the upper western portion of France. So while we're here, unfortunately, the weather has it raining the entire week, but that's not going to stop us from seeing some of the coolest things in France. One of them being Mont Saint Michel.
So we were driving to the Normandy beaches where the invasions of D-Day happened, and on the way we saw a little brown sign that said American Cemetery. So we took the instant detour and we came here to pay our respects.
So this is a huge 28-acre cemetery for American soldiers who fought and died here in Normandy during World War II. There are 4,410 gravestones erected for those who died, as well as a large monument inscribed with the names of those whose bodies were never found or recovered. Those who were Jewish, their headstones are marked with the Star of David, and all the others are marked with the Latin cross.
Once we thought that we'll stay young, and these worthies never gold. But when I opened up my eyes, I said, grow old with me.
I'm really glad we came here to see this. The way they've handled it is very powerful and beautiful. Each one is a gorgeous slab of marble, and you can tell that it's just a very respected area, and it's very moving.
This world is a cold place without you. My demons wait me home. Oh, I'll make it a safe place for you if you promise to feel the hurt in my soul. This world is a cold place without you. My demons will lead me home. Oh, I make it a safe place for you if you promise to feel the...
We're here on Mont Saint Michel. We made it, and we're just wandering through the little town. It's just a bunch of tourist shops and restaurants, but it's really beautiful to look at. What I'm most excited about is the abbey at the top.
The outside was full of tourist trap stuff. Inside,
Now we're in the abbey itself.
so cool. So what's really awesome is seeing here, according to Navionics, this place has a 40-foot tide. 40-foot tide. what are your thoughts of this abbey so far?
It's very cold. It's huge, but it's a little frustrating because there are no plaques anywhere, so I have no idea what anything is. That's it. So clearly
These are the north-south stairs. Yeah.
we were meant to purchase the audio guide, but we were too cheap.
Just such a cool structure. It's got all these little passageways and stairs, and you're just going along, and then tons of wind, and then you go out of the wind again. It's quite chilly. And I can only imagine the people that lived here. I mean, this thing was the construction of it started or originated around the 10th century. So we're talking about 1,000 years of people,
Living up on this mountain island.
yeah, so it's just to think about, where did they get their food? Did they farm? How did they farm? I mean, there's a 40-foot tide out there, so what looks like a bunch of land right now kind of becomes a seaweed farm in a few hours. So just how did they do for 1,000 years? It's just so cool.
It was a bunch of nuns. It wasn't like they were farmers.
True.
I can see how this would have been a very contemplative place to walk around. It's many just cold stone rooms, not very much light, very dark, so that the experience is kind of much more inward than outward, because everything is extremely simple. It's not ornate, it's humble. So it's all about the inner journey. That is quite the portrait.
Oh, yep, they just stopped. Aren't you filming this? There he's done. All right. Morning, everyone. So we have clear blue sky. Oh, the clouds are already coming back. Dang it. Well, all right, it's not as crazy windy as yesterday, and there are some blue skies, but the clouds are coming back in already. Most importantly, last time we went was peak low tide, and now we're gonna go at peak high tide. So it's gonna be really cool just to see the difference in water levels. Raining. I forgot the rain cover for the camera bag, so I got it under my coat, and I'm hauling butt to get back to the van.
Okay, we're off to the Normandy beaches, and on the way, we are keeping our eyes peeled for any place that may have internet, because one of our biggest frustrations is trying to find internet to upload our videos. Since we make our living on YouTube, it's important for us to be able to stay on top of our uploading schedule. But out here, it's really hard to find a place that has strong enough Wi-Fi to do a full upload. So we are on the hunt.
Our videos tend to be about 20 gigabytes. So they're really big because, you know, 4K files are huge. And the problem is, we'll go somewhere and they're like, oh yeah, we have Wi-Fi. And then I do a speed test and the upload is like 0.6 megabits per second, which means we're gonna be there forever.
Oh, this weather is horrible. It was beautiful and sunny in the morning and then kind of intermittent rain, and now it's just
Head west, then turn right.
someone wants us to get going. It's me.
This morning we missed high tide by an hour. Because someone set their alarm to get out of bed before high tide. Because she thought that the tide would be like a foot down by the time we got there. Well, the tide here rises and falls by over 6 feet per hour. So when we got there, the tide was really out, even though it just started going out. Because 40-foot tides. All right, so now we're going to the beaches of Normandy.
World War II history buffs will already know this and probably more, but for us, it's very interesting to come see these beaches at Normandy for the pure American history of the place. And it's really cool to see how the US is celebrated in this area of France. The storming of Normandy was extremely important to turn the tides of the war in favor of the Allies. The Americans were crucial to this attack. They planned this enormous, elaborate diversion so that German armies were not prepared for the attacks on Utah Beach and Omaha Beach and Hoc Point, which is what we just saw.
So the Germans originally set up that point simply because it is an unscalable cliff that there is no way that anyone could come in and attack. So it was a great place to mount a bunch of guns to have just oppressive fire on the other surrounding beaches that it could reach.
So the guns weren't actually pointed out towards the ocean, they were pointed in at the land because nobody expected soldiers to scale those enormous cliffs.
But leave it to Americans. They did it.
So in scaling the cliffs at Hoc Point, they were able to take out the artillery that was pointed and aimed at the other two beaches that they were storming. So enormous amounts of casualties took place. We lost thousands of soldiers, but in the end, it gave us an enormous advantage in the war.
The attack began with an airstrike to take out as many guns as possible, but the problem was they couldn't actually aim where they dropped their bombs. So as we looked around Hoc Point, you could see that the ground was just riddled with craters and holes where these bombs had landed. They did manage to destroy a lot of the guns, but there was still work to be done once the soldiers got there.
Now, it's wild. They were trying to blow this place up, so they tried air raids, and that's why the ground is just littered with craters. They couldn't quite get the guns, and they weren't sure if they destroyed the guns. So they actually sent in a ranger team that then scaled that giant cliff on the sea, broke into here, killed everyone, destroyed everything, and just took out this place. And it was so important to take out this place because the guns mounted here could shoot Omaha Beach and Utah Beach. So if they could take out this place, that would make it a lot easier for the invasion of D-Day. impressive being here, seeing just the vastness of this beach. And just what's really wild is the high tide line is just up against the dune, and then this is low tide now, and it's just way out in the distance. So I don't know what time and tide they arrived on, but just to think that they would have had all that distance to cross, and then just after the beach there's dunes, and they'd have those little jack things, and then they had, you know, barbed wire, and then oppressive fire. Like, it was just impossible, and they did it, and they persevered.
It's cold. I don't want to get out of my sleeping bag. Behind me is the Notre Dame, and it's so difficult to see it in this state.
So we made it all the way up to the Eiffel Tower, and there's a wall here. You can't actually get in all the way.
Dressed in like really cool fashion, and we found out that it is Paris Fashion Week.
Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends.
And if you'd like to follow our journey in real time on a map, receive postcards from our ports of call, and message us directly to the boat, you can go ahead and become a patron using the link in the description down below.